All right, so let's start with the rapid fire round just to break the ice. The first one is, at what age do you want to retire?
At an age where I'm still able to read, because that's my ultimate dream, that I just sit in an armchair and read all the books that I never find the time to do so.
How long does it take you to get ready in the mornings?
Roughly 30 minutes for myself, 30 minutes for my kids.
Favorite color?
Blue.
What time of day are you most inspired?
Probably the best thoughts I have during nighttime.
How many hours of sleep can you survive on?
2 nights with 5 hours is okay. After that, it becomes tough.
Fill in the blank. An upcoming technology trend is blank.
Well, an upcoming technology trend is augmented reality.
City in which the best kiss of your life happened.
The best kiss of my life. That for sure has to be in Bavaria, where I kissed my now wife.
Okay, pick one, Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg.
Steve Wozniak.
How do you relax?
By reading.
How many cups of coffee do you drink per day?
Probably too many, I would say 5.
The most valuable skill you've learned in life?
How to learn new things.
Your favorite Netflix show?
The Money Heist.
One-word description of your leadership style?
Encouraging.
Top priority in your daily schedule?
Survive.
Ideal vacation spot for relaxation?
A warm sunny beach.
Key factor for maintaining a work-life balance?
Try not too hard. Sometimes accept that you have to do compromises on either side.
Okay, well, that's the end of the rapid fire. Let's go on to the longer questions. Where did G&D originate from, and how does it position itself in the IoT market?
So how do you come from banknote printing to IoT? That is the story of G&D. G&D was actually founded 170 years ago in Eastern Germany, and nowadays headquartered in Munich. And we actually originated in the banknote industry, and we are doing that ever since. But over time, over the decades and centuries, we have innovated and evolved in many different aspects as well. And nowadays, we are very present in digital security, also IoT space, financial platforms, and currency technology. So G&D is all about security technology. And what initially started off as banknote printing, production, processing, has evolved in many different aspects then over time. Because from there on, we were also able to not only print passports and driver's license and stuff, but also to issue credit cards. And from credit cards, you can also then derive SIM cards. Actually, G&D produced the first commercial SIM cards roughly 30 years ago. And that by itself evolved then into the embedded SIM, the eSIM, that we've been heavily pushing with our partners in the ecosystem. And you see, it's all around security technology, and that's what G&D stands for, creating confidence.
So what's so exciting about this space now compared to the other spaces that you've been in historically?
What fascinates me is really that we are working in very critical infrastructures, right? We provide security technology that is then ultimately reliable so that all of our customers can work with that and can enjoy the security benefits that come with it.
So how would you, in your own terms, define the IoT and its impact on society?
IoT is ultimately about connecting everything that runs on power. And that is our ultimate goal, to first have that secure connectivity, but also then ensure that we can have reliable data transmission from one device to the other one. And that will provide a lot of economic, environmental, and societal benefits.
And so in what ways do you foresee IoT revolutionizing industries beyond technology? So for instance, healthcare, transportation, agriculture, or any other industry that comes to mind?
Yeah, so transportation is a good keyword because we are actually investing heavily in that space. So last year, we actually acquired a company who is providing IoT tracking solutions to optimize supply chains in transport and logistics. The ability to track where your moving goods are at any point of time and get all the kind of environmental parameters under your control, that by itself is very valuable.
You talked about the environment. So in what manner will the IoT address these global challenges like climate change, hunger, and health?
Well, IoT cannot solve everything. I hope that's clear. But if we get more efficiency in a lot of our day-to-day processes, if we require less material to be moved around, if we produce less waste, all of that has very clear impact on environmental standards and ultimately then climate change.
So you'd say efficiency is a key parameter of IoT.
It's one of the most prominent benefits, I would say, yes. It's also a reduction of waste, right? We are very heavily invested into what we call the eSIM, which is the successor of the physical plastic SIM card. And here we are getting rid of all the plastic around that. And that actually has like a 42% CO2 footprint advantage towards the plastic SIM card.
So you said you're involved worldwide now. So how does G&D tackle global connectivity gaps to ensure continuous device connectivity worldwide?
Yes, also here we have done some investments. We actually acquired a so-called MVNO, a mobile virtual network operator, who is active in most of the countries around the planet. And that means by having that and our security technology, we can actually ensure that the device, wherever it's being turned on, can actually securely connect to any network out there.
And so what about diverse geographical regions where connectivity is hard? Are there any challenges you're facing or any improvements you're making there?
Well, a big thing, of course, beyond cellular connectivity is also then connectivity via satellite, right? So here we are already in partnerships with a couple of companies that are active in that sphere. It can be a very good combination that you have reliable cellular connectivity wherever that is available, but roughly 90% of the Earth the Earth area around is not covered by cellular connectivity. So that's actually where satellite can play a very important role.
So taking a break from these questions, we're going to ask you a question. What does your typical day look like? You wake up in the morning and what is your business day like?
I'm not sure there is something like a typical day because it can be very different whether it's a day in the office or whether it's a day being on a convention like here in Barcelona. Last week I was on another convention in Stockholm, for example. But usually what I do, I try to get up very early in the morning, get myself ready, help to make breakfast for my kids, send them off to school, then drive to the office. And then it's very much packed with meetings, right? Ultimately, that's my job to be in discussion with people, try to take decisions, get approvals, and steer the business.
So which other conventions do you go to besides Mobile World Congress?
So I was on the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas in the beginning of the year. Great start into the year. Last week was actually in Stockholm, the Tech Arena, which was very exciting. And usually we try to have some kind of schedule around the year of things where mostly we can also meet customers. That's what's driving me.
So keeping all the different sectors that you've talked about and the different events that you've been to, what do you think is overall necessary for the IoT to achieve its full growth potential?
For me, it's about reduction of complexity and ensuring interoperability. Because ultimately we're talking about billions of different devices, different manufacturers, and we need to find good mechanisms to ensure that they all can speak to each other and that we get the value out of that.
And are there any specific regulatory or policy changes you believe are crucial to fostering this growth of the IoT industry?
Well, we're looking at a couple of regulatory changes, for example, when it comes to the AI Act that is being discussed in Europe, when we're talking about the Cyber Resilience Act. So all of these can be very important ingredients down the road to ensure that we have a healthy ecosystem. What is always important is that the regulation does not interfere with innovation too much. We will have to have a good balance here.
So how does G&D contribute to IoT growth and address associated challenges?
Well, we provide key ingredients when it comes to security technology in order to have secure network authentication, as an example. And we've been doing this for more than 30 years, and we are, I believe, a well-known and trusted partner in the ecosystem.
So can you outline some of the key contributions G&D has made to the advancement of IoT technology and how it navigates challenges in this dynamic market?
Yeah, for sure, it is a dynamic market. One of the things that we are influencing is, of course, via the normal standardization bodies, right? Of course, we play an active role here in shaping the industry standards, like the recent SGP 32 that was published. We had our contributions into that one as well. But ultimately, it is more about providing secure technology to our customers that are secure against attacks and that create confidence in the whole ecosystem.
So what is the business case, would you say, in general for IoT adoption amongst these customers that you're talking about? And how does G&D assist them in achieving it?
Well, I wouldn't say there's like this one business case. You have to look at that really depending on the specific use case, depending on the specific industry vertical that you are then targeting. To come back to what we mentioned before on the transport and logistics side, right? If you can allow a logistics company to have 5% less waste in their supply chain, needing less containers, for example, to ship all their goods, because at any point of time you know exactly where all the other 95% of containers are and where they will arrive at the next destination. That is real value that pays by itself.
And in what ways does G&D support its customers in overcoming obstacles commonly associated with IoT deployments, such as security concerns or interoperability issues?
So yes, for sure, it is about security that we provide, for example, a secure operating systems, a secure profile generation that is then personalized for each customer or for each device. And for sure, it is about taking complexity out, right? It is that we have packaged solutions that provide you global connectivity out of the box, no matter where you are on the earth.
Could you comment a bit on the relationship between IoT and AI, since everyone is talking about AI all the time?
It can be very interesting when some of these megatrends, they converge or they have a certain crossroad. For sure, AI provides potentially great analytical capabilities, right? That can then help to build on connected devices and make maybe some of the efficiency gains even higher. That's why I see where AI can for sure play a role.
Are there any specific use cases where the synergy between IoT and AI has resulted in transformative outcomes or innovative solutions?
I think that is yet to come because ultimately what we're discussing now as a big breakthrough in AI is more on the generative AI part. There, I really don't see that much connection to what we're doing with IoT general. But what will happen, of course, is that there will be many more applications than for AI that so far we don't yet see on the horizon.
So given the vast number of connected devices globally, how does G&D ensure the security of the IoT ecosystem?
It is about having security on all different layers, right? So it starts with the silicon of the chips, where we are working closely with a lot of partners in the semicon industry. It goes over then to the operating system that we can reliably program on all different platforms. It is about encryption technology that we have been developing for many, many years. Nowadays, it's about management of data in a secure fashion. So it really have to have security built in on all different layers, and then you have security in depth.
Well, so what is your vision for the future of IoT, and how do you anticipate its evolution?
At some point in the future, we believe that every device that runs on power will have a built-in connectivity. And it will just be normal that you have that as a package altogether, and that you can remotely connect to every device. And that's also a security benefit, because that allows you not just to get data and information out of that devices, but it's also about the ability to update devices in the field, right? And that is also then security gains.
So your upcoming session at the 5G IoT Summit sounds intriguing. Could you share a brief overview of what attendees can expect to learn from your session on mastering the IoT puzzle, securing seamless connectivity?
Well, we want everybody to come to the session, so we can say everything right now. But it's about that. It's about putting together different puzzle pieces that we believe we have in place, which again then takes the complexity out and ultimately builds the better use cases for our customers.
How do you anticipate satellite connectivity will revolutionize IoT applications in this regard?
I think it's a great addition because by having a seamless handover between cellular connectivity and satellite connectivity, you cover pretty much all of the environment. And then a third addition to that one could be technology that allows to track devices inside of buildings where maybe you don't have satellite or cellular connectivity as well.
So you posted at the start of February on LinkedIn the importance of standing up for values and diversity within organizations. How does G&D Mobile Security promote diversity and inclusion, and what benefits have you observed as a result?
Well, it was personally for me very important to take a very clear position, right? Because we see in many parts of the world that sometimes hate messages take over, that we see actually people working against each other. And for me, it was very important that we send a clear message that this is not acceptable, not in our society, not within G&D. So we want to make sure that everybody feels included, no matter what their ethnic background is, no matter what gender they have, no matter what sexual orientation they have. We want to be a diverse workplace, and I think we have good proof points for that work.
And how do you ensure that diversity and inclusion efforts are integrated into the company's broader strategy and culture?
Well, we make sure that actually we live up on these values, right? And whenever we see something that is not quite right, we try to address it immediately, and then actually also re-emphasize the message that such behaviors is not acceptable, and also we try to lead by example, that we also want to make sure that every voice is heard. To give you a very specific example, just a few weeks ago, we launched a new initiative in my division, which is called the U30 board, the Under 30. And that is actually a new instrument where we are trying to collect especially the voice of the younger generation, and we want to make them more visible and get their feedback on some of the decisions and some of the initiatives that we are taking on a top management level.
So let's talk about your own background a bit. It has an extensive experience in strategy consulting with a focus on telecom, tech, and automotive industries. How has this background influenced your own diverse approach to leadership and decision-making at G&D Mobile Security?
Well, what I like to believe is that having a background both in the engineering but also in the consulting and financial aspect, it allows me to have very different perspectives on tough problems. And sometimes we need to have more combination of these different viewpoints to ultimately come to the best decision. And what I picked up a lot in consulting is the fact that I like to dig deep into problems, try to analyze them, learn about them, and hopefully make the best proposal.
All right, so the last question for you is of a personal kind. What would you be doing in your life if not this?
Spend more time with my family. I'm Philipp Schulte, CEO of G&D Mobile Security. Catch me on the Technologist of the Month show.